Okay, today we're going to be talking about a 22-inch Didde 860 3-color printing press. We're going to start here on the roll stand. This roll stand has a brake similar to a car, and on this roll stand we have some rollers here that will help stabilize the paper. And in the middle here, if you look down, you'll see a dancer, and that dancer controls a brake for the paper. And as the dancer moves, it releases the brake and starts feeding paper. If it feeds too much, the dancer takes up the slack. That's how we would control the infeed on the web coming into the press. The next station comes in is the variator unit. Under here we have an S-wrap. And this S-wrap goes around a couple rollers, and it controls the tension of the paper the rest of the way through the press. And that's how we control multi-parts, being able to put them together, and we stretch them the same, so we keep the tension on the paper consistent from one sheet to the next. This top unit is a web guide, and the web guide helps us run on size so we can keep our paper costs down by running on size stock. We have less trim. It also helps us trim on only one side only, but if you watch this move, it'll move if the paper moves, and it'll pull it back into position to go through the press. Like I said, that'll help us keep our paper costs down, which in turn will help everybody save money. Then we come into our first print tower. Now all the print towers, this is a 3-color press. We've got 3 print towers, so we can print 3 colors in one pass. And all the print towers work exactly the same. We have on the back, we have a water system. This water system is what cleans our plates and lets the image run clean onto the paper. It is not really a true water. It is a chemical base. It's a neutral pH, and it's safe for people to be around, and all the codes are safe, but it does clean and keep the plate clean for a clean image. And then we have the print tower up here. We have our roller train, which mills out the ink, and then we have our plate and a blanket, and then we have an impression cylinder. The plate is a true read, so if you look at it, it'll read just normal. The blanket will get a reverse image, just like from a mirror, and then the blanket will put that image back onto the paper and reverse it again, so it's a true read image again. This next spot is our turn bar. So here we can print on the back of the paper, run this paper through the turn bar. It flips the paper over, and then we can print on the other side. So in this scenario, we're going to print a back unit and 2 face units. And again, these units all work alike. The water system's the same, the blanket's the same, everything's the same. We just put them all together and pull the colors together. 2 important things on our units is our what we call lockup, and it's got to be a clear print area. If you see the seam on the plate and the seam on the blanket, we keep those together so that they line up on top of each other, and we cannot have any print in that area whatsoever. We call that a clear band, and that gives us what we call lockup on our image. And you can see the image going around. We're running 4 images on this at one time, 4 5.5 images on a 22, and then there's our gap again. And we require that on all art, that we have to have a 3/8 clear band for that gap on the blanket and the plate. This is our 3rd print tower. Today we're going to be printing reflex blue out of the middle one and yellow out of the front one. Again, these all work the exact same. The gap's the same, the art is set up the same. We can throw on our plate, we position the image on the plate the same from job to job, so we put the plate on the same and it comes down on our paper right where we want it. This next unit is a numbering unit and a marginal unit. On the back we have cams in here, and I'm sure everybody's seen those like number stamp machines they use in grocery stores or used to use and stuff like that, and they'll count and do that thing. Well, we do a similar thing there, and it runs through a cam, and every time it turns around in that cam, it clicks 1, 2, 3, so we can consecutive number. On the front side of this unit, we have a cylinder and we put sticky back marginals on that cylinder. So we can change those out every part, and we can run office copy, customer copy, accounting copy. We can do a lot of different variables like that for the customer that we can change throughout the job for each part of a form that we're running. The next unit is a punch unit. The operators kept this on here because of the dots. I'll remove that. We have our punch cylinders. These rings put on our pin feeds, which holds our registration through the other equipment. It also facilitates pin feed, tractor feeds on printers for continuous forms, things like that. We run these on every job that is a multi-part. We may not run both sides, we may only run one, but both sides if it's a continuous form going into a continuous printer. This is our file hole ring. We can do custom punching there on that ring for bindery type situations. All these standardized punching we'll do on press. If it's something that's out of standard, we will do that offline. But as you can see on that cylinder, we have a bunch of different combinations that we can put punches in to punch forms for the customer. Our next unit is a perforation unit. We run wheels on here that we can run with the web that will perforate and put stubs on that can be torn off. We can do jump perfs, partial perfs, things like that, running cams. We can put a slitter on here to trim it down to size if we need a finished product of different size of our paper stock. We can also set blades in here to run a perf across the web. And we have a variety of tooth, we call them TPI, teeth per inch. And we can, to make the perf easier to tear or harder to tear, we can do a variety of situations for customers to give them a custom form that's usable for them. On the front here, we got the same scenario. We can run other perforations and slitters, but we also have a trim chute down here. And that trim goes down the chute, it goes up the pipe, we send it all the way into the back, and we bale it and recycle it. We throw away nothing. We try to recycle everything we can. This is a folder unit. We can lay this table down and we can change our web direction and bring it up through here. We can put in a cross perforation and we can fold this form, and we can go ahead on a one-part form, we can fold it, box it, and ship it right off the front of the press. Our control panel. This is where the operator will start up and control most of the print while he's running. He can do unit-to-unit registration digitally. He can control his water. He can control his speed. He can turn all the units on and off right here and bring up his colors and be ready to run. There is some work going up and down the press, but the operator can do quite a bit of control right here. And then we have our rewinder. And this is where we rewind rolls that are going to go down and be put together on a collator. If you look on the front here, we got another dancer, just like we do in the back, that goes up and down. And what that does is it helps keep a constant tension on this paper. As everybody knows, paper kind of tends to tear easily. Well, we can run 50 or 60 feet of paper through here, and with these dancers, it keeps the tension real even going through the press, and then we don't have any trouble as far as paper break and everything. It keeps it real stable. On this particular form, we're going to be running two colors at a time. Reflex blue, that's going to be all the text that's written on this form. We're printing it in a dark blue. It's called Reflex blue. On this unit, we're going to be covering a yellow screen over the top of the Reflex blue to give it a yellow tint look on the paper. Now that's going to print yellow just like that. It's just discolored because of the image on the plate. When we start this up, our water's going to turn on and our ink's going to turn on. The ink is going to ink up that plate. And our water is going to clean everything except the image that you see on the plate. That will hold ink and the rest of the plate will run clean. And then we will turn that on the blanket, and the blanket will come down onto the paper and it'll transfer the image onto the paper. When it gets there, we have two different colors. Well, they may not be lined up on each other, so we have to move them and adjust them on top of each other. And we do that with what we call a compensator. Every unit has a compensator in front of it. Got one here, here, here. There's one in front and behind every unit. What that does is that compensator changes the displacement from one unit to another. By changing the displacement, we can change the registration and pull them right on top of each other. And we can get good color registration for tight logos, for screens, borders, things like that to make the copy run right with multiple colors. We can also use that compensator to fine-tune numbering, pull a number right up into position where we want it. To adjust for punching, get the punching where we want. We can set it and move it manually, and then we can dial it all in as the press is running with those compensators. So when the operator gets ready to run a good roll, he's going to fire it up and bring up an image just like we did for the sheet link. But he's going to take it one step further. We have a strobe light here, and this strobe light runs at the same speed as a press. So anytime he changes speed or runs a different speed, this stays in time with it. What that allows the operator to do is to see the form while he's running that's passing in front of him. So he can check his registration, the box we talked about, and make sure that that's true. He can check his colors and make sure that they're good. He can even make his color registration on that good. He can register perforations, numbers, and all that while he's running. We also put a flag in here. When I'm satisfied that all the forms are good in front of me, we'll put a flag in. That tells everybody down the line that they can run down to this flag and everything's good. Below the flag, it's not. So we have a starting point and a stopping point. Okay, so we're going to start up the press. We're going to bring up our image again. And to register this at this speed, I will be using the compensator that we talked about. Our seat length is good. So as soon as our copy's registered, we're going to be counting. Okay, registration is good. The flag goes in. We turn on our counter, and we're counting good forms. When the counter gets done and goes to 0, it'll shut down the press automatically. So the operator can be preparing for the next part or preparing for the next job. He can be looking ahead to see what he needs to be doing next. That's it. And that roll of paper is done. The operator will change that out.